Good evening. Welcome. Glad to have you here tonight, whether you're here in person, and those that are here in person are eating a variety of great cookies, which I promised you last month. If you showed up, more people did. For those of you out there on Zoom, it's a delight to have you here as well tonight. This is the Lummi Island Community Association monthly general meeting for the month of May. My name is Greg Hall. I am president of the Community Association. Let me introduce some of the other board members. Over here on keyboard is Alan Crum. Our secretary beside me, Connie Berry. A little bit too fast there. There's Alan. And there's Connie beside me there. Connie is our secretary. Our treasurer, Paul Davis, who is on out there on Zoom tonight. Hi, Paul. Good to see you. I know you're out there. There he is. And our at-large members with us tonight, Bill Daly, Gail Lawrence, back running the whole Zoom end of it, Mary Ross. And Carol McKinney, are you out there in Zoom land? No? How about Victoria Souze? Are you out there in Zoom land? So the secretary can make a note. We have 2 absents. Is there anybody here tonight that has never been here for a LICA meeting before, other than our speaker, which we will have later? We'd like to introduce you, welcome you. Bill, delight to have you here. You've been here on the island a couple years.
Yeah, we moved 2 years ago, officially from Texas this year.
Outstanding, welcome. Glad to have you on the island. Doug, good to have you here. Welcome tonight. Anybody else? Well, I'm glad to have all of you here tonight. We've got a light schedule, which is kind of odd, really, but it means we're doing our job. So we're going to start with the approval of the agenda. Can we throw the agenda on up on a screen share? It was posted both on the website, has been available through Brown Betty and other forms as well. If we can scroll that on through. Mostly tonight is a presentation. So I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda for the evening.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. And a rush to get it done. Moving on, approval of the general meeting minutes of April 22nd, 2022. Instead of a reading of the minutes, again, we post these online on ourlummiisland.org, your LICA website, and we also make them available through Brown Betty and other forms as well. So everybody knows they're on out there. Are there any changes or additions to our meeting minutes of the April 22nd, 2022 meeting? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of April 22nd, 2022. That's a lot of twos.
So moved.
Moved, seconded. Bill seconded. Motion carries and we'll move forward. Treasurer's report. This is where we get to find out how much money we still have, and we're doing pretty well. Paul?
Yeah, here I am. Well, since we started having our in-person meetings at the Grange Hall, the subscriptions are trickling in again, to get a few of them. Our income for the month of April, including subscriptions, bank dividend, and a correction made for an error before, $75. Our expenses, I've paid Grange rent for the balance of the year for our meetings like tonight, plus folding the tome. Insurance for paying premiums, total of $347. Our general fund balance now is $19,186. And our liabilities include amounts for our unpaid grants of almost $1,300. But half of our balance, half of our liabilities is putting money aside to pay for the tome for the balance of the year. So our surplus money now stands at $10,450, and that puts us in very good position to start collecting for our grants coming this fall, winter. Any questions?
Treasurer's report, by the way, does not need to be approved. It is simply a report that is given to us to show the financial condition of the organization. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it. I keep looking on over at the screen thinking I'm going to see Paul there, but I've got a camera in front of me, so it looks a little odd. New things to get used to with hybrid meetings. Old business. I'm shocked. I'm stunned. But we completed all of our old business last month. We've closed things on down. That doesn't mean there isn't things happening. There are a great many things going to be coming on up in the month of June, some really exciting things as well. Same with reports. That doesn't mean our committees are sitting idle. There are some really wonderful things happening right now with the Public Doc Committee. We'll have more on that that'll be coming on out as information becomes available, but that's moving right along. So
the Orchard Committee is doing a very fine job.
And there it is. The lawns are getting mowed over at Orchard Park. You may have seen it when you park during dry dock. That's all maintained by LICA volunteers who are, by the way, paying for their own gas. That says a lot. We're about community in LICA. Our job is to connect the various organizations, the people, your interests, give you the information you need to be an informed citizen here on the island and enjoy what you have available. You'll find us mostly on ourlummyisland.org. You'll also find us in the tome. Now, tonight, I'm going to talk about some new business, and it's really pretty much talk about. At the board meeting earlier this month, we approved a new committee, the Lummi Island Aviation Advisory Committee. As a result, this committee will be looking at low-flying aircraft that many people have commented on. There were 40 different citizens of this island who signed levels of petition that were denied access to a variety of things with Bellingham Airport and their committees and other places. We also want to make sure we have good information and communication and flow with the medical services that we need here on the island. If you need to get off rapidly in the middle of the night, sometimes when the ferry's down, that happens. What are the ways that we look at those? What are we doing in the future? Are digital drones coming? So the committee has been formed. I'm delighted and pleased to announce Catherine Shornick is the chair. I am the liaison from LICA. It is a standalone committee. LICA supports and sponsors committees of public interest, and this is one that has it. So there will be an announcement tomorrow on ourlummyisland.org. There'll be links for people with interest. There'll be surveys coming on up to find on out. Are you concerned about the planes that are flying overhead? We have started an investigation with software, a variety of it that's really new and surprises me. A guy who fought Desert Storm, ran the Tactical Air Operations Center and looked at planes and launched planes during that particular campaign. 3D vision that you can get on your PC and see planes flying overhead. We're looking at how can we isolate just Lummi Island and look, are there patterns? Are there problems? Are there ways that we can do things better, both for pilots and for residents? Is it a noise issue? Is it a too low safety issue? Things that we get to look at. So look forward for that tomorrow, coming on out on our LummyIsland.org. The next thing I want to talk about is tome production. COVID shut us down hard. Getting into this room with multiple people with printed tomes and folding them was a challenge. Distance was a challenge. Masking on up, keeping everybody safe. We went electronic tomes for a long time. But I got to tell you, I was at Fred Meyer's in town a couple weeks ago. And I ran on into one of our islanders over there who lives here. They've been here on island only 54 years. They don't have a computer. They don't have a smartphone. They don't look at the electronic version. I said, well, how are you getting the tome? She said, I'm going down to the library and they're printing it on out for me. Well, our job is to communicate. Our job is to get that information out. So we decided we were going to do a hard copy tome, which hopefully all of you have now received. It was a little late because of dry dock. They didn't haul them off island till Monday. However, we also had challenges. Did you know that almost all colored paper comes from Asia? We didn't. You can't find colored paper. So it's a white tome for right now, but we're back on out. We're back in the presses. Got two of the tome folders here tonight. I want to thank them personally because without that, we don't get it on out. The printer will fold for us at 50 to 60 cents per copy. We fold ourselves. Think of that money we save. Now, people have often asked about the tome. Why do we mail to everybody on the island? Well, it's a simple fact. The tome itself, if we mailed just to what we have called subscribers in the past, would be 45 cents per copy. But if we mail it, bulk mail to everybody on the island, we get a bulk mail rate, which is much less and actually saves money by even printing the tome and sending to everybody. Raises some questions. Questions we'll be discussing next month. What is a subscriber? What is a supporter? Tonight, we're fortunate to have with us the new executive director of Lummi Island Heritage Trust. Heritage Trust sends out some wonderful brochures. They don't have subscribers. They send it on out. You get a copy in the mailbox. I got one. I get them regularly. Wonderful production. But they don't have subscribers. They have supporters. We're an island community. We need to do the same thing. If you look at our logo, we coined that phrase, putting unity back in community at a time when we see so much divisive division throughout the world. Here on Lummi Island, you came here by choice, by decision, and you live here, and we are a community. We're here to connect you. I'm very thankful tonight to have our new executive director, and I'm going to give her a microphone so that you can all hear her nicely. Tonight we have with us Susan Hutton, the brand new executive director and a relatively newcomer to the island. You've been here a couple years now.
Yes.
Outstanding. What can you tell us about Heritage Trust? What's new and what directions do you see?
Well, that's why I'm here. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Mary, for inviting me and arranging for me to be here. I'm really happy to be here. This is actually the first time I have ever been in the Grange. Although we built our house to reflect the Grange because it's our favorite building on the island. So it's just really nice to finally have an opportunity to be inside of it. I am coming to you halfway through my third week as executive director. So as you can imagine, I know absolutely everything about the organization, everything about the trust and all the nuances of its history. And I've already sent a 5-year plan to.
There's no amplification in the room.
Okay.
It's only going out. So if you need to hear, you'll have to sit next to it.
You can sit next to me. Apologies to everybody behind me. I need to face this way apparently. So I know my voice doesn't carry, but I'll try to project. Anyway, I was just saying that I'm halfway through my third week. I'm still getting oriented. I'm still getting to know everything. But I thought I would tell you a little bit about who I am. I grew up in Detroit. I went to college and graduate school in Michigan, and Michigan feels like home to me in a lot of ways. I know all of the flora and fauna and the seasonal cycles, and I have a lot of history there, but Lummi Island has felt like home.
KG and Sandy.
Lummi Island has felt like home to me too for nearly 30 years. I've been coming here since 1995 when my mother-in-law bought a house here. I got married in the pasture behind her house, and we've had a lot of really important family occasions here, a lot of memories and holidays. And whenever we were not here, we were trying to figure out how to get back. We most recently were in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where we were for 14 years. I worked at the University of Michigan as a writer and an editor, and I also did a lot of environmental work and environmental advocacy in the city of Ann Arbor. And I worked for a while at an outdoor environmental education center. A few other fun facts about me. I'm a poet. When I worked at the Environmental Education Center, I learned how to handle a bunch of different raptors. I could handle a saw-whet and an eastern screech and a barred owl and a great horned owl, American kestrels, and a red-tailed hawk, although it was pretty scary and I didn't like to handle it. But I had a lovely eastern screech owl that lived on a perch in my office. And my neighbor down the street had this beautiful, one of the surviving elm trees in the Midwest, and there was a screech owl that lived in it. And I don't know if you have ever heard it, but their call is like a very slow, defeated horse. And it would just send out these lovely, eerie sounds in the middle of the night. And I just really loved hearing it and really connected to it. We lived in Ann Arbor, like I said, until my kids graduated from high school in 2019. And that was when my husband and I really started thinking about how we could be here full time. And COVID was awful, and it created a lot of hardship and heartache for a lot of people. But it created an opportunity for us to be here and to work remotely. And so we have been here since March of 2020. If any of you have been wondering about how to go about meeting people and getting to know your neighbors, I can tell you that moving to an island during a pandemic is not really an effective way to do that. I've spent a lot of time in the last 2 years at my desk working remotely, and until I had the good fortune to be hired at the Lummi Island Heritage Trust. I was also the person who was selling bread on the corner for a while, and eggs and produce. I have the very good fortune to have Al and Sheila Marshall as my wonderful neighbors. And, but, you know, I didn't see very many people other than that. And one of the real pleasures of this job is that it's given me a chance to meet people and to connect names and faces. And, you know, like I said, I'm still pretty new in the position, and I'm still learning about the work and the projects that are underway. And, you know, as you all know, it is an incredible organization that has clearly been well stewarded by the amazing staff who are talented and smart and capable and are really fun to be around, by the board, and also by Becca Retmer, who, as you know, retired earlier this year. And I definitely know that I have big shoes to fill. And in a lot of ways, this makes me feel like it's more important to be really thoughtful and just careful about making changes or announcing new initiatives, because it is under such good management and has been such a great organization. So I'm not coming here tonight with any of those really to share. And after 3.5 weeks, I think you would be suspicious of me if I did, or you should be. But I do have some thoughts about the role that I hope the Heritage Trust will have in this community. One of the things I really love about the trust is that it's open to everyone. It's not dependent on your religion or where you live. And I thought a lot about that and about what that means. And it's one of the things that really drew me to this position. You know, one of the things, as Greg was saying, that we learned these last 2 years is that it's really damaging for us to be isolated and to feel how fractured that a community can become. And it feels really important to me as the director of the Heritage Trust that we really have opportunities to be together safely and responsibly. And we're entering into the season where we can do that, where we can be outside together and within each other's company. And there are a few things that we are planning to do to facilitate that. In July and August, we're going to have a couple of movie nights, outdoor movie nights, and we're going to have some music nights. And I hope you will come. I especially hope you will come if you have never come to a trust activity before, because I want you to come and I want to get to know you and I want to hear about your experiences on the island. And I'd like to know about some of the things that you feel the trust could be doing to help you and your community and your neighborhood. We also have this wonderful AmeriCorps volunteer who's been with us for the last 7 months. And her last day, according to the AmeriCorps rules, will be July 15th. And we are really sad to lose her. But one of the things she's going to do is to lead a tour through each of the trusts and tell a little bit of the history of the trust, some of its particular features. And she's also going to tell us some of the things that she loves about each of those spaces. And that's going to be a really tremendous thing because of all of us, she spends the most time in them and she knows what special places there are that the rest of us might not have ever come across. Another thing that we have been hard at work is planning to make parts of the Curry and the Auto Preserves wheelchair accessible. And I hope that we will have some news to share with you about that this summer. We're working very hard and we hope to have that happen pretty quickly. And I know a lot of people are really curious about Aston. And it's an amazing project. It's huge and ambitious. And it's also a project of such scale that it requires a lot of bureaucracy in order to make it happen. The trust before I arrived was busy writing grants and reporting on them, applying for permits, and working with county officials and engineers and consultants to figure out how to do this work and to do it safely. We actually cleared a hurdle today, which was very exciting. We had applied for a permit, which has now moved out of the planning department and of the county, and now it's in the ecology department of the planning of the county, where it will be probably for the next month. And that kind of news is really significant and exciting, but it's hard to really talk about and show about because it was a Zoom meeting, very much like this one where we were all together and talking about it, but it's not something that really conveys the kind of work that's happening. And I know that that's frustrating and that a lot of people are curious about it. And we've been thinking about that a lot too. We right now are not allowing access to Aston because it's not safe to be there. And we have thought about having tours, which we've done in the past, but because Beach Avenue is closed and because the bridge that you have to use to access that area is small and there's a significant part of Scenic Estates that relies on it, we don't really feel like that's a good decision for us right now, but we're thinking about ways that we can take videos and show different pieces of the work that are happening. And we are excited to start to prepare those and share them with all of you over the summer. And some of the things that have already happened on the project are they removed the dock and some of the pilings, and it's progress because it really has an impact not just for the island, but also for the Salish Sea ecosystem, and even just the things that we've happened so far. Removing the pier and the dock have allowed light to penetrate into the water, and so it allows eel, grass, and kelp to grow. Removing the pilings also removes the creosote that came off of the pilings. And the mooring buoys and the no anchor zones that were in the permit that we talked about today will protect the eelgrass and the kelp. And these are critical for the habitat for the Dungeness crab and for the forage fish that the salmon rely on as they migrate from the Nooksack. These steps have larger consequences that really resonate far beyond us, and it underscores the connection that we all have, that we do exist within an ecosystem, and that we have regional partners that we really need to work with in order to protect the island and the community, and to really be proactive and to think about some of the changes that will be coming toward us. I think, like a lot of people, I spend a not insignificant amount of time thinking about climate change, which is, I know, not really a cheery subject, and it's not one that people really like to talk about. But if you look at the climate models and read all the studies that come out regularly, you can get a pretty unanimous picture that it's going to be pretty difficult and bring a lot of changes to us. And though it's hard to think about, and though there is a lot to grieve about in that process, there are also some things that we can do to mitigate its consequences. And those are things that we need to do now. And these are things that we are really thinking about at the Trust. The mission of the Trust, as many of you know, is to create a legacy. I have to read the mission straight. I haven't memorized it yet. To create a legacy of abundant open space, native habitat, and natural resources on Lummi Island by inspiring people to protect and care for the island's farms, forests, wetlands, and shorelines forever. I think a lot about forever these days, which doesn't mean what it used to. So I guess if I have one real vision for the Trust, it's that we cultivate the kind of community here that allows us to learn from people who have the expertise to help us preserve it. And that's the scientists and the foresters and the farmers and the people who have been here for generations. And to some extent, we can take steps to mitigate this coming crisis by forming alliances with our ecological neighbors and implementing plans here with each other to build our capacity for resilience and deep adaptation. And I really hope that the Trust can be a way that that leads the way for helping islanders feel like a community and to take the steps that we can together to protect the island's most vulnerable people and places. So I really want to hear your ideas. I really want you to come and talk to me. I want you to email me and call me. I want you to participate in these things and give us a chance to talk about things we can do together. I welcome you all as members. I welcome you as not members, but it just feels important that I really want to make sure that we make a clear statement that we want to be part of this community that Greg was talking about, and that it's important to me that we really emphasize the unity too here. We have something that's so special and that we all care so much about. And we can do things to protect it by working together. And it's not something that happens person by person. It's something that we have to do together. And I think it's something that we can do together. Some of the things that I learned to do while I was in Ann Arbor are things that I think can translate here. One of the programs that I was involved in there was a community solar installation program where we would go into a neighborhood and we would look at everybody's roof and figure out who had solar potential. And then we organized a group buy for solar panels so they were cheaper. And we organized an installer to come into a neighborhood at one time and put all the panels on roofs together. And I think there are things like that that we can adapt to this community and be able to do things that are efficient and cheaper. And we're talking about ways internally to do that now. And this is a way that I hope, everybody will consider getting involved with us. So those are a few of the things that I wanted to tell you about and talk about. And, just to say again that I really do want to hear from you, and that I'm really delighted to have this job. I feel really lucky. I feel really lucky to be living here, and I feel lucky to be in this position. And I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to work with everybody. So please come out and introduce yourselves. And thank you again very much for allowing me to come and talk tonight.
Well, it's a delight to have you here tonight. Any questions? Thank you very much for being here. We are one of your partners, just so you know.
Yes.
Micah is a big supporter.
Mhm.
We are spring cleanup together in
Mhm.
conjunction with the library and Hoyle. We've done some fun things, but I'd like to move on over to Alan real quick. Alan?
Okay, my apologies to the people in the room. Each time we're doing these hybrids, we're doing a different iteration of the setup. And this time, we don't have the room audio for some reason, which I didn't realize. So we will have that set up next time so that everybody can hear. My apologies.
So again, thank you very much, Susan. We
My pleasure.
appreciate you being here tonight. Oh, yeah, people want my microphone. You all hear me. Yeah, you all hear me in the room fine, but people out there in Zoom, well, they're hearing me probably on Susan's microphone. I do carry a little bit. Okay, fine.
Sorry for the echo.
Yeah, just a little bit of echo. Really, I really appreciate your being here tonight. I appreciate all of you coming on out tonight. This is the time of the night where we get an opportunity for Paul Davis to go on out and try and give some money away. This month, we have a prize of $45. That is to subscribers. If you are a Tone subscriber and you are either present here in the Grange or attending via Zoom, you could be a winner. Paul Davis, let's switch to your camera. And if you would,
Okay.
sir, kindly draw on out a number.
Okay, we have a maximum of 425, so anything over that doesn't count. I'm pulling the thing out of this coffee can. Well, 568 for heaven's sakes. Here's another one. Oh, that is a good one.
144?
Yeah, 144.
That's a gross number.
144. And to get the
He
book,
can't help himself.
People do.
Douglas Cash.
Doug Cash. Sorry, Doug. We miss you. We'll remind you on the ferry every time we go by. You missed $45. Next month, that goes up to $50. And next month, presenting will be our fire chief here. I don't know how many of you know, but the fire department graduates June 18th. A huge contingent, almost every member of the department with firefighter 1 status. Now, this is an all volunteer fire department. So to get up to speed on all of that, I have invited the chief to come on down here. He will talk about what's going on with the fire department. I am a former firefighter in Alaska. I am a former fire chief, and I thought about running for commissioner. But there is a problem with that because Greg Hall, fire commissioner, no, what I'd hear is fire Hall. With that, I thank you all for your presence tonight and coming on in, both to the Grange and being out there on Zoom. And unless there is any other agenda items. Mary Ross.
Yeah, I'd like to just let people know that we've got a grand total of 12 people on Zoom tonight as well. So this has been a really great turnout. So thank you for all coming.
17 people here and 12 online. That's pretty good. 29. Let's see if we can increase that each and every month. I'm not going to bake cookies every month. So if you aren't down here, feel free to bring cookies. With that, unless there is anything else.
Thank
we
you,
are
Mary.
adjourned.
Thank you, Mary, for organizing this. Well.